Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And today we're going to have a look at Nadine Dorries. She is Britain's Culture Secretary, and she has said quite categorically that it is completely unfair for men to compete against women in women's sports. This is after Boris has come out and said he thinks it's unfair. She's categorically said it's unfair. That's the second minister. Meanwhile, Labour, who continually pander to all their strange minorities, still can't even define what a woman is. But we'll have a look at this article. I'll put myself down in the corner and we will discuss. So here's the article. It's in Breitbart. And the quote is the headline: "Impossible for transgender athletes, men, to compete fairly in women's sports, claims UK minister." And then we go into it. Britain's Culture Secretary Nadine Dorries has said that it is impossible for transgender people to compete fairly with women in sports, and says that biological women should be protected by sporting bodies. I don't like the term biological women. I much prefer the term women, because it's by saying biological women, it's almost as though you're implying that people who aren't biological women are women, and that is quite clearly not the case. But we'll move on. Government Minister Nadine Dorries said that while she would prefer not to have to enact laws to prevent transgender athletes from competing against natural women, again, why not just say women, and i.e. to take real action on the issue, she suggested that sporting bodies should take action to safeguard women from unfair competition, as in not letting men compete against them. And I quote her here: "I am absolutely of the opinion that it is impossible for a trans woman to compete in women's sport. You can choose your gender and we will support you and help you to do that, but you cannot change your biology," the Culture Secretary told GB News. And she's quite right. You can call yourself whatever you like, but it doesn't change who you are. And who you are is a man. And so you shouldn't be competing against women. You cannot change that you were born male or that you were born female. It is what it is. I'm afraid with those athletes that try to get their testosterone levels below the limits, if somebody has been through puberty, it isn't that case that it will make a significant difference, the Mid-Beds MP asserted. The issue of biological males competing in female sports has come to the fore as a point of contention, again, after America's swimmer Leah Thomas began to crush records in the women's competitions and defeated several Olympic female swimmers after having what detractors say was a middling career competing against and as a man and against men. Britain has also seen controversy over the issue, with cyclist Emily Bridges, who was born as a male and is still male, recently being banned from competing with biological women, although British Cycling is currently reviewing its policy. Yeah, but British Cycling is actually in a quandary because the World Cycling has said no, it doesn't matter what you think, British Cycling, we're actually going to be coming down against it. And also, female cyclists have done the only option they have which guarantees them victory, and they have said that they will boycott. So you're going to have women's cycling that either has no men in it whatsoever or will be solely men, and that's how the women win. And there's a piece here, it's a tweet from British Cycling, Sean Ingle. British Cycling confirmed trans man cyclist Emily Bridges is now unable to compete in National Omnium Championships. Told it is a technically, I think they mean technicality, as Bridges has to wait until current UCI registration runs out to compete as a woman. He can never compete as a woman because he's not a woman. He's a man. Anyway. But there was talk of a boycott by GB female riders, and that is absolutely right. And here's the actual letter, which I will leave on the screen. At British Cycling, we believe that transgender and non-binary people should be able to find a home feel welcome and included, and be celebrated in our sport, whatever celebrated means. Under the British Cycling Transgender and Non-Binary Participation Policy, Emily Bridges was due to, unfairly, participate in the National Omnium Championships on Saturday. We have now been informed by the Union Cyclist International that under their current guidelines, Emily, as a man, is not eligible to participate in this event against women. We have been in close discussions with the UCI regarding that man Emily's participation this weekend, and have also engaged closely with Emily and his family regarding his transaction and involvement in elite competitions. He's fine. He's fine. He can go and compete in as many elite competitions as he's able to qualify for. It's just that there will be elite men competitions. We acknowledge the decision of the UCI with regards to Emily's participation. However, we fully recognise his disappointment with today's decision. It goes on. Nadine Dorries said, "I hate making laws. So why did you become an MP and go to Parliament? Give it up. If you don't like it, give it up. I would prefer the sporting bodies to come together, and I have asked for a round table with them to discuss this." Actually, the sporting bodies can't get their act together. A lot of them are too scared to make a decision because they go, "Oh no, if we make a decision, we'll be transphobe, we'll be called an ist and a phobe, and oh no, we don't want that." Because they're spineless. They're spineless. They haven't got the ability to stand up to this tiny, tiny group of mentally ill people. And so I'm afraid it will have to come to laws, Nadine. You have to pull your finger out, do your job. Sporting bodies can come together and reach a position that protects female athletes, but also shows compassion to male athletes and helps them achieve their goals. Yes, by putting them into a male competition and telling them to work really hard, lads. You can do it. Or they want their special competition for men who aren't as good as other men. So you can have that competition, can't you? You can have a man's cycling race for men who aren't as good as other men. And then they can win their medals for being not as good, or whatever it is. Maybe this is having trans categories. I've just said that. It's the category for men who aren't as good. I don't know, but what I do know, the bottom line is you can't have trans women, men, competing in female sports. Her reluctance to take the lead on the situation herself comes despite the fact that her full title is Secretary of State for Digital, Culture, Media and Sport. She is the one directly responsible for this. And sport is a clear area of responsibility for her within the government. And she won't act on it because she doesn't want to be seen as an ist and a phobe. Rather than, oh God, if I make a law, then it's my name, and then people are going to go, I'm a homophobe, I'm a transphobe, I'm a hater. Rather than, actually, I'm not going to do anything because I don't give a shit about women. Which is where you are at the moment, Nadine. Make the law, love. Make the law. As in America, the issue of transgenderism and the nature of womanhood has also become a political issue. It shouldn't do because defining what a woman is particularly easy. It's an adult female. With the leader of the left-wing opposition Labour Party, Sir Keir Starmer, coming under criticism for failing to answer whether a woman can have a penis. Because he daren't. He's craven, spineless, wobbling jellyfish of a man. Don't forget, he was the man who, as the head of the CPS, the Crown Prosecution Service, decided not to prosecute child offenders. I don't mean children who offend, I mean offenders who committed certain crimes against children. Mr. James Saville, Esquire, being most notably one of them. He declined to prosecute. Tells you the measure of the man, doesn't it? Conservative MP and Chancellor of the Exchequer, Rishi Sunak, has also struggled to answer simple questions surrounding sex and gender, buckling under questioning last month as to what he believes a woman is, or indeed what a party is. The billionaire doesn't know what a woman is. Health Secretary Sajid Javid has been somewhat more forthright, stating, "My own view is that when it comes to sport, it should be about sex rather than gender, and sex should be on your biological sex. There's no other type of sex. There's your biological sex, and that's it." Prime Minister Boris the Party Johnson, for his party, recently came out forcefully against biological males competing in female sports, saying maybe that's a controversial thing to say, but it just seems to me to be sensible. Like Dorries, however, neither Johnson nor Javid are using their position of power to actually resolve the issue at this time. Spineless, spineless people. So you have all these politicians saying, oh, it's wrong that women have to put up with men in their sport. But when your actual Minister for Sport won't pass a law to ban it because she too is craven, spineless and weak. Ladies, what hope do you have? But at least she has come out, to give her a due, she has at least come out and said that she thinks it should not happen, it's unfair, and the sports bodies should deal with it. But we all know the sports bodies won't. So ultimately, it's going to have to be law, and it is going to have to be Nadine. Or her soon-to-be replacement. Because I think the Tory party are going to change a lot in about 4 weeks' time when they get eviscerated at the local elections. And that's a little link to the fact that a transgender male, as in a man, who suddenly decides that you can call him, Tracy, and he'll put on a pair of slingbacks and a skirt, then has the right to walk in on that morning and strip search a woman. I've covered that in a video. Because spineless politicians won't do anything about it. Anyway, I shall round this off, which will come up and finish the video. It is one of the most whirlingly fast games of pass the buck you will ever see. British Cycling passes it up to World Cycling. World Cycling says it requires government issue. Government says, no, it's for the sporting bodies. Because nobody has a spine. Nobody wants to be the one that makes the decision. Nobody wants to stand up for women. They talk a good game. Oh, I think it's wrong. Oh, I believe it's wrong. Oh, I don't think it should happen. But no one is actually saying, we're going to pass a law and say, no, a biological male cannot play sport against a biological woman. Why? Because they are craven, weak, spineless cowards. We deserve better. Because if they're weak like this, what else are they going to be weak like? Everything. None of them stand up. You don't stand up on immigration. You won't stand up on the economy. You won't stand up on taxing the rich. You won't stand up to protecting your borders. You won't stand up to trade deals with the EU. You won't stand up for anything because you're all weak politicians. You're all mouth, no trousers. You're all talk, but you can't do. There's no walking the walk, just talking the talk. And it's any wonder that people find politicians contemptuous. Anyway, we all know what they're like. I don't know why we don't get angry about it. We just keep voting them in. I just say at the next elections, the locals, it doesn't really matter so much at the locals. But I'm going to make the point. I've been Tory all my life, but I'm making the point of definitely not voting Tory this time. Can't vote Labour, just can't. And I despise the Liberals with every ounce of my being. So I shall probably go for an independent. So that will not vote, and that'd be a waste. So I shall give a few votes to if the independents get a few votes. It'd be nice if they could save their deposit. So if you are keen-minded, just pick a random independent. If nothing else, it will make them feel good on the day. Anyway, we'll round that off there. I could go on a long time about how bad politicians are, but hardly be news, would it? But I will say that if you like what you hear and see on the channel, please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Ring the bell for notifications of future output. Leave a like, leave a comment, and until next time, stay safe, stay well, and goodbye.